Well, part of this is, of course, to allow his son Lachlan to establish himself as the undisputed heir, because obviously there are family rivalries at play here. Maybe it would have been handier if he'd been more definite about really stepping back, but he made it very clear in his message to the staff that he will be there even on Friday afternoons in the office ringing around. But I think the focus, while it's been largely on Rupert Murdoch, this is really an attempt to cement Lachlan there as the new undisputed boss of both Fox News and the news empire of newspapers around the world. So that is what really is at stake here, and I think we should play very careful, look very carefully to the reaction from James Murdoch, how he is taking this news.
Yes, I mean, of course, he started his empire there in Australia, didn't he? What do Australians think of this news today?
Well, I don't know. I mean, as long as the newspapers keep going and the Sky News down here, not your Sky News, our Sky News, keeps going, everyone will be happy. I don't know that there's going to be any noticeable transition that that consumers will notice, and that's what Rupert's trying to make clear as well in his latest statement. But the thing is, Rupert Murdoch, what an astonishing career. You mentioned there, Stephen, how he started with a newspaper in Adelaide. You've got to make clear that Adelaide is just like, imagine Newcastle. It's nowhere near the hub of power. It was the second newspaper there with just 75,000 readers. And from that, he has spun this enormous media empire around the world. And he's done that really by spotting big gaps in the ideological market in particular. I recall when he went to London first, buying up this Sun and turning this is 55 years ago, into almost a weapon against the smug elites. And that was his first dramatic statement, we won't bow down to the privileged enclaves anywhere, never. And then 55 years later, having spotted a similar gap in America with Fox News, which is this big money-making operation, again giving, smiting the unrighteous, smiting the elites, and giving the ordinary person an alternative political view to the left-wing sort of smothering blanket of opinion. That is what's really made him so powerful and so rich. And again, now he said it is announcement last night that, again, he's an enemy of the elites. He's always been a revolutionary, ever since he was at Oxford and had a bust of Lenin on his mantelpiece.
I'm intrigued by your comments about Lachlan and James, because obviously when James was appointed the boss of Sky here in the UK, however many years ago that was now, that caused a lot of ripples, didn't it? Because people were thinking Lachlan would get that, and he didn't. He seemed to have fallen out of favour, and now it's swung round the other way. So what do we know about what's going on in the family dynamic?
Well, obviously there's been quite a few tensions over quite a few years. I mean, James has he's on the left, Lachlan's a conservative. James is very much a global warming fanatic. He's complained about the coverage of global warming issues by Murdoch outlets, particularly mine and me personally, I guess. But Lachlan, of course, represents more continuity with his father, that they represent people that want a variety of voices on their outlets, and that includes conservatives who are largely excluded from quite a few other media outlets.
Australia has become known as where we seem to get our global media moguls from. I mean, you've got Rupert Murdoch, Kerry Packer and others. Have you got any more in the pipeline we should be warned about?
Lachlan.
Maybe.
Watch out. I mean, it's interesting, the transition to Lachlan is going to be interesting. Well, it's been in the making for a while. Rupert Murdoch is very much, as a force of nature, really, very out there, doesn't mind getting in front of a camera now and then and giving what for, speaking his mind. Lachlan's a much more introverted person. It's a great struggle to get him to stand in front of any camera. I would wish that he'd project himself more. You might see him more. But he does share a lot of his father's political views, and I think that is what has made him, rather than James, the heir apparent, because James is more, I think, a censorious type, which is really weird because that would be cutting, really making damage to Fox News. What are you going to do? Censor that? That would lose its competitive edge. And the same with many other of the Murdoch brands in Australia, for instance. You know, it's that cheekiness, that taking on the establishment, taking on, well, a little bit like you guys at GBNews. You represent the kind of outlet, I think, that Rupert Murdoch would have loved to have had.
Well, we'll take that as a compliment. Really good to see you this morning, Andrew. Thanks very much indeed. Appreciate it.